Good morning, world. Who is that masked man? It's Gerard Braud with this edition of the Broadcast, where we bring you bite-sized bits of best practices to help you be a better leader and a more effective communicator. 4 tips today on COVID reopening day. You see, many parts of America have decided it's time to reopen. And that creates 4 problems that I want you to be aware of where you work or at the business that you own. Problem number 1, manage expectations. We are not going back to life without this or without that. So if it's required of your employees or required of your customers that they have personal protection equipment, communicate that clearly. Already we're seeing protests in America, and we're seeing people shouting because they believe it's their right not to wear this stuff. And there are other people who are shouting, hey, it's not your right to contaminate me. So I expect the possibility of acts of violence breaking out in a store somewhere or a restaurant somewhere where somebody gets too close to somebody else and they're not happy. Manage expectations of what the rules are in your business. Enforce them carefully with no exceptions. Number 2, do not make promises that you cannot keep. I've already seen people trying to write messaging. They've asked me for reviews of some of their messages, and it says things like, we promise the safest environment possible. No, you cannot promise anything because you can only have limited control over safety. You have no control over the virus. So use words like goal, G-O-A-L. It's my favorite word to use in a crisis communications news release in the preamble to state that our goal is to operate a safe restaurant. Our goal is to operate a safe business. Whatever it happens to be, do not promise absolute safety. 3rd point, as you reopen, do not put profits over people. Let me say that again. Never put profit over people. And what's going to happen is, depending on the solvency of a company, depending on the financial stability and strength of a company, those companies that are in most dire shape and who are hungry for money and cash will likely make the mistake of putting money over people. Now, some business owners I've talked to are saying, well, I am putting my people first. My employees need money. It's got to be more than just your employees. It has to be your employees and your customers. It has to be a win-win-win, not a win for the company, a win for the employees, and a lose for the customers. If there is a lose anywhere in that variable, then you've got a problem. That's my 3rd point. Don't put profit over people. And my final 4th point of the day is consider what happens if you open and things go wrong. If a cluster of illness breaks out associated with your business after you reopen, you will get negative publicity, news coverage like you've never, ever wanted. Before you make that decision to reopen, and before you make all the decisions about how the reopening is going to happen, consider the effect on your revenue, reputation, and brand if you reopen and you become a cluster of illness. Also consider the financial impact, because if you become that cluster and you get all the negative publicity, do you then need to shut down your business for 14 more days? Or 21 days, or however long you then have to quarantine because of illness associated with your business. These are trying times. There are no easy answers. Those are my 4 observations today as parts of America reopen. The shopping center behind me is closed for at least another 10 days in Louisiana. We're moving far slower because our cases continue to rise. But I ask you to make very careful decisions as you reopen in your location. For the broadcast, I'm Gerard Braud. If I can be of assistance to you, by all means, reach out to me. In the meantime, be well, be safe.